All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about a huge fundamental shift that's happening in one of the world's most powerful industries. Forget all the hype and the buzzwords for a minute. We're going to get real about how artificial intelligence is quickly becoming the new engine for management consulting. So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at why the old way of doing things is really starting to crack under the pressure. Then we'll meet the new player in the game, the AI-powered consultant. We'll walk through a framework for how to actually manage this change, see what it looks like in the real world, and then we'll take a peek at what's next for the entire industry.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. For decades, right, management consulting has been this trusted pillar of the business world. But that pillar is starting to show some pretty serious cracks.
I mean, it's a bold question, isn't it? But it's one that every single leader out there really needs to be asking right now. Are the methods that we've relied on for the last 50 years, are they even fit for purpose anymore in a world of endless data and instant everything?
And here's the heart of the problem. The classic consulting project involves getting brilliant people to do interviews, analyze a bunch of spreadsheets, and use their gut feeling to figure things out. But it takes months, it costs a fortune, and it's all based on a tiny snapshot of data. You know, in today's world, that's kind of like trying to navigate a superhighway with an old paper map.
So this brings us to the great disruptor, artificial intelligence. And look, this isn't just another shiny new tool for the consultant's toolkit. No way. This is a complete fundamental shift in how strategic advice is even created in the first place. Just look at the difference here. It's night and day. We're going from human intuition to machine-augmented insight, from expensive manual number crunching to efficient automated processes. We're moving away from making huge decisions based on a small sample of data to analyzing all of it. And the result? Strategic thinking that used to take months can now happen in almost real time. It's a whole new ballgame. Now, this is the really crucial part. AI-powered consulting isn't about replacing people. It's about augmenting them. Think of it like a partnership. The AI does the ridiculously heavy lifting of sifting through mountains of data, which frees up the human strategist to do what they do best: ask the tough questions, make sense of it all, and handle the complex human side of business. So it's one thing to see the potential, but it's another thing entirely to actually harness it. You need a plan. So how do you actually build a strategic model for this kind of transformation? If you're a CEO, a CIO, a strategist, this is where the rubber really meets the road. It's time to get past all the hype and start thinking about a structured, step-by-step approach to bring this power into your organization. This whole transformation really happens in 3 key stages. First, you augment analytics. You're using AI to spot patterns and find insights in your data that a human being would just never, ever see. Second, you automate processes. This is about getting all those repetitive, data-heavy tasks off your team's plate so they can focus on what matters. And finally, the most powerful step of all, you start to use AI to generate strategy, to model out future possibilities and uncover brand new ways to grow. Okay, a framework is great, but what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's switch gears from the theory to a more practical application. Check this out. It's a perfect example. There was this global retailer, and they were really struggling with forecasting demand. The old way just wasn't cutting it. So they brought in an AI solution that analyzed everything: real-time sales, historical data, the weather, even what people were saying on social media. And the results? A 20% drop in stockouts and a 15% jump in profit. That's the real, tangible power we're talking about. So where do you start? Well, first, don't try to boil the ocean. Start small, with a well-defined pilot project to prove the value. But, and this is a big but, before you do anything, make sure your data infrastructure is solid. AI is only as good as the data you feed it. Then focus on training your people so they can actually work with these new tools. And finally, remember to measure success not just in cutting costs, but in new revenue, smarter decisions, and a real competitive advantage. And all of this leads us to the final and maybe the most exciting part of our journey today. What does the future of consulting actually look like? 80%. Just let that number sink in for a second. Projections show that's how much of the traditional consulting work we see today could be automated by the year 2035. That's not a small change. That is a seismic shift. What this means is that most of the tasks that define consulting today, gathering data, doing market analysis, even building the slide decks, all of that is going to be handled by machines. This is that automate processes step we talked about, but playing out across an entire industry. And you know what? It's not a threat. It's an evolution.
It pushes human consultants up the value chain, away from doing analysis and towards providing true strategic wisdom and leadership.
And this quote just captures it perfectly. The consultant of the future isn't a data analyst. They're a strategic orchestrator. They're the human connection point for machine intelligence, the one who translates all that complex output into a bold business strategy. So we'll leave you with this one last thought. This transformation, it's not coming. It's already here. The tools are ready. So the question isn't if AI will change your business anymore. The only question left is who's going to be the one to lead that change? Will it be you?